Hi, everyone. My name is Julia,
And I'm Katie.
and we're the hosts of the Runways and Byways travel podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about a trip I went on very, very recently, just I think 2 or 3 weeks ago, maybe at end of January, and it's middle of February now. And I went for my birthday. I knew I really wanted to go away. And so I decided to go to Charleston, South Carolina. So today, we're going to be talking about that. And Katie, do you have anything to say before we jump into things?
No, actually, Julia and I both decided together to go to Charleston, South Carolina, but unfortunately, I could not make it at the end. But Julia still went with her husband, and I've never heard about the trip yet. I don't know any of the details, so I'm really excited.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk about it because, yeah, I sent her a few pictures, but I didn't really show her everything. So now I'll show you everything.
Yay.
Yay. All right. Trivia question. I think it's your
Yes.
week.
Okay. Yes, it is my week. So, what country has the national animal that is a unicorn?
What? Katie,
What?
you know unicorns aren't real, right?
Well, this country loves unicorns, so this is their national animal.
Okay, it's giving me like Northern Europe vibes, but I'm gonna hold off.
Think about it, mull it over.
Okay, I will. Trick question again.
I mean, you might have a chance. You're always so good at these trivia questions.
Yeah, but I don't know. Not when they have fake information in them. Like unicorns aren't real. Like what?
Right, but this national animal is real, even though
Okay.
it's not really real. But the
I don't think
fact is
I
still real.
I don't think I know the national animal of any country actually. So I'm kind of just gonna be going off what country seems like they'd like unicorns. I don't know.
Mhm. That's a good strategy.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah.
Americans like unicorns though. Like my sister has this unicorn skull that she puts up in the house and it's really weird.
I don't get it. I
I
really
don't get it
don't.
either. I'm not that kind of girl.
I'm not a mystical creature girly.
Neither am I. I've never been into it. I don't
Yeah,
like
like
any mystical
fairies,
creature
mermaids.
sci-fi. Mm-mm. I could do without.
No.
Yeah. The only thing in that realm of things that I like is Harry Potter, but that is it. Exclusively
See,
that.
I like the story of Harry Potter. I'm
Yeah.
not like, even within Harry Potter, I'm not into the memorabilia. Like, I like the storyline.
Yeah. I think I'm like slightly into the memorabilia, but I do like the storyline more because it just twists and turns and but yeah, in general, I'm not into the sci-fi fantasy type stuff.
Yeah. I do like Lord of the Rings, though. But again, I'm into the story. I'm not into the elves. I mean, I like that the elves are a part of it, but not like I wouldn't get elves all over my room, if you know what I
Oh
mean.
yeah, I slept so good during that movie.
So
That was like top 10 best sleeps I ever had was during Lord of the Rings.
you should just play Lord of the Rings every night to
I
help you
should.
sleep. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been having trouble sleeping lately. That's a great idea.
That's hysterical.
Yeah, I knocked out. We went to see it in the movies. That was the honestly the best $13 I ever spent because I slept like a baby.
Oh my gosh. That's so sad.
I know it's so bad. And my husband kept waking me up. He was like, "You're missing it. You're missing it." I'm like, "I know I'm missing it, and I'm loving missing it."
That's so funny.
Yeah, so anyways,
All right. Back on topic.
yes,
So,
back to South Carolina.
yes. So, what specifically made you want to go to South Carolina rather
Honestly,
than any other place for your birthday?
I mean, I think you kind of sort of know the answer to this because you were involved in the planning process, but I think I knew I wanted to go away. And honestly, if it was completely up to me and there was no money or work or school or timing involved, I would have probably gone to the Caribbean, which we sort of kind of did. We did that the week before my birthday. So we sort of did that anyway. And maybe it would have been Caribbean overkill. But
Yeah.
I just wanted to get away. That was my thing. And I figured if it was somewhere semi close to me, cheap, just keep it easy, just like a nice road trip, just get away. And originally my thought process was Savannah, but I knew you really wanted to go there and wanted to make a big thing of it. So I was like, okay, what's similar to Savannah that's in that area that I don't really have to make a big thing of, just want to get away. And So that's when Charleston came to my mind because I'd heard of it in the past. I had an old coworker who used to live there in her when she was growing up. I don't know. And so
Oh,
it was always in the back of my mind and I never really thought about going there, but I was just like, you know what? It's not that far. Why not?
that makes sense. Yeah, it is close to Julie lives in Florida. So yeah, it is pretty close and it has a lot of, like history, and I heard it has really good food too. So definitely makes sense why you'd want to go there.
Yeah, I could definitely speak on those points when we get to them, although I don't know too much about the history and I can only speak on the food that I had personally. But
Yeah,
I did have a good time there. And yeah, I'll talk about all those details when we get to it.
definitely. So before we get into the details, just to, start from the beginning, what was the planning process like? Even though I pretty much was with you through it, but if you can go into more detail.
Yeah, so we could kind of talk together on this because, yeah, you were part of the planning process. We did pretty much everything together. So originally, we were looking into, like I said, we were looking into South Carolina and Charleston. And then once we decided on Charleston, we were trying to decide what activities to do there. And we wound up deciding just keep it cheap, walk around. There seemed to be a lot of free things to do there. So I didn't book anything for the trip besides the hotel. So there were no pre-planned activities really.
Mm.
Now, as for the hotel, you were involved in that planning process. And so I'm sure you remember. So this is mostly me just saying it for the audience, everyone who's listening, because you already know this. But we were looking for the area to stay in that we'd be near the most things, if that makes any sense, almost in the central square of the city, if you will.
Hmm.
So we wound up staying in Marion Square. We stayed at the Francis Marion Hotel. And the reason we chose this hotel was because it was the cheapest one in the location we wanted to be in. So we were trying to stick to a budget and we knew we wanted to be in this location because it was walking distance from everywhere we wanted to go. It seemed like a great location. We knew we wouldn't have to be running around to get to everything. And so that's why we chose this hotel. Any commentary, being that you were involved in the process too?
No, that makes sense. I think we were pretty set on that one from the get-go. When you go to these southern places, like we said, you kind of stick to that one area that's the most populated. And I think you're kind of safe choosing the cheapest option within that square because they're all pretty nice hotels. And if you want to splurge a little bit more, then fine. But if you're kind of looking to just have a nice enough place within a really pretty city, then I think what Julie and I did was worked, which I mean, I guess we'll find out if it worked, but I don't know. I felt like it was a good strategy.
Yeah, I don't know when you want me to get into the details of the hotel now or later, but it was a really bougie hotel. So
Ooh,
it was
okay.
actually one of the more fancy hotels I've stayed in. So
Wow.
considering it was the cheapest hotel in that area and we still got what we got from it, I'd say it was pretty good.
Wow, that's really good to know. Yeah, so I guess segueing into the next section is what was the trip like? I believe you drove there. So what was that like? And then kind of going from there about your itinerary.
Yeah, so we did drive there. Originally, I was actually planning on flying, and then my husband had brought up that he wanted to drive because it was obviously cheaper. We could stay more within our budget and allocate money towards doing more things we want to do. And it's close to us. It's not really that far. I think it was maybe a 5 hour drive. It really was not bad. And it went by
Mm.
so fast. So, what was the rest of your question? I know I said I drove there. That was, I
Yeah,
kind
so
of
you drove there and then so you kind of mentioned a little bit about the hotel. Do you want to go into more detail or
yeah. So I don't know how it's a very old hotel. They say it's a historic hotel, but I'm sorry, I don't know the history of it, but it is a very old hotel. Like you kind of feel it when you're in there. It's actually under restoration right now, the side of it. But luckily we were staying on the side that's not under restoration. And the inside of the whole hotel was not really affected by the restoration. It was really just the outside. So our view would be the only thing that was affected, but we were staying on the side that was not being restored. So like when you walk in, they have these big shiny chandeliers and a piano player, and it just looks very
wow.
grand. And let me maybe I could show you on am I sharing? Can you see when I'm searching?
Yes.
You can. Okay. Yeah, I just want to pull up pictures so you can see, and I'll try to put up pictures in the YouTube video as well if you're watching on YouTube. So that's the outside of the hotel
Super
in the
pretty.
corner there. Yeah, you could tell like it's a very old historic building. My internet's very slow. And so this is exactly what the lobby looked like. The big chandeliers. It very old, but also very elegant.
Very classy.
Yes, very classy. And they had a piano player there. I think they had water for you to take. So it's just very nice and fancy. And
How
then
would you
this
compare it to the New Orleans hotel?
extremely different vibes, but
Oh, okay.
yes, because the New Orleans hotel was more modern, if you will, or
Oh, got
modern
it.
in a different way, you know?
Mm.
It wasn't, how would you describe our New Orleans hotel or New Orleans
Yeah,
hotel?
it was like a boutique hotel, very trendy, very modern, but also tried to keep that like classy Southern vibe.
Yeah, so this was not modern at all. This
Okay.
is the opposite of modern. Even like the appliances, like the toilet and the bathtub and just the heating system, like you could tell like it probably needed to be updated. But at the same time, that's part of the historicness of the building. So you maybe
Mm.
would not want it updated because it's just, it gives it character, if you will.
Right, makes sense.
Yeah. So I have up a picture here of what our room looked like. I guess all the rooms kind of look like this, just very old fashioned, almost like how it would look if you were staying at your grandma's house.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it doesn't really look like, like our modern hotels. They all kind of look the same. This has its own unique quality to it.
Yeah, yeah, it was very charming. The only weird thing about our room was there was this little, I didn't take a picture of it, and Google is not going to have a picture of it, but right next to the bed, there was this little door, and it didn't really close right. And so it would open up by itself. We looked in it, and it was just like wires that went down like 2 floors. So like if we had a kid in there or like a pet or something that was not thinking for itself really, it could have just fell down 2 stories.
Oh my
So
God.
that was kind of weird. It was like a very mini door, but like if you really wanted to squeeze in there, you
Still,
could. Yeah. So that was a little weird.
yeah, if you had
But
like a 1 or 2 year old who just kind of finds his way in there.
yeah, honestly, I think if we had a little kid or if we brought pets or something, I would have complained. But
Yeah.
being that we both have our heads screwed on the right way, we just, I mean, it
Can
wasn't really an issue.
you imagine Donato just opens the door, falls in two stars? It's like,
I mean,
what?
some people would, you know?
Yeah. Just to get like some insurance policy. I don't know.
I feel like if we were those kind of people, that would be a really viable option.
Oh my God. If you were that desperate for cash,
Yeah, which we are.
you'd be like, okay, babe, is it me or you?
Probably would have been me. I bet I would have fit through that door a little better.
Oh my gosh. That's so funny.
Yeah, I'd say that was my only downside about that hotel. That was just like really weird. And then when we would close the door, it would like open back up again. I don't know if it was like haunted, but
Probably they wanted you to jump in. The ghosts.
it was really weird.
That's so funny. But okay, so that was the hotel. So what time did you get there around?
I don't remember actually. We got there with like maybe mid to late afternoon. Like there was still some time left in the day to do stuff.
Okay, so then what was like the first thing you did?
So the first thing we did, we kind of just chilled in the room for a little bit. And then we wound up going out to, I believe I have it written down, but I believe the name of the street was King Street. Let me just double check. I think it was yes, King Street. And so that was actually so convenient. The hotel, I believe, is located on King Street or maybe like right around. Let me check before I give you. Yes, it's located on King Street. And King
Mm.
Street is where all the big shopping is. So it's kind of like the main hub of the city. We just had to walk down the street a little bit and it was all the shopping. That's where people go. It's a big thing you do in Charleston. If you're going to Charleston, you go to King Street. So it was really convenient staying on King Street, being that even though we did have a car, it was just nice to be able to walk there.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
yeah, and so King Street was like very old buildings, but with the palm trees that give you that southern vibe. And each of the buildings had like southern charm to them. It was really, really pretty. The one thing that I did not like about King Street, however, while there was a lot of shopping, I feel like the shopping was a little more high end and
Mm.
there weren't as many restaurants because at this point we were walking and we were getting hungry. And there were a few restaurants, but they were kind of high-end restaurants. And
Okay,
we knew
wow.
yeah. So we knew we'd kind of have to walk far to get to a restaurant that was kind of our speed because at this point we were so far down King Street that we were in front of like the Gucci store or something, and we
Mm.
weren't finding cheap hamburgers there.
Yeah, that's interesting because I felt like New Orleans was the opposite. Everything was very reasonable and there was a ton of cafes, restaurants, everything.
Yeah, what I found about not South Carolina, but Charleston specifically, is that it's very expensive. Very
Okay.
high-end stores. Even the hotel was like high-end by accident. Like we didn't even mean to stay in a high-end hotel. It just was high-end. And
Yeah.
the stores were high-end. All the food was high-end. Even when we tried to eat cheap, it wasn't. So we wound up eating at Chipotle a couple of times rather than the
Wow.
actual restaurants there just because of the pricing and just everything was just higher scale.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. I hate when you book trips and you end up literally doing the bare minimum. Like when we went to Hawaii, and instead of eating at a nice Hawaiian place because you couldn't get in, it's like you had to eat Panda Express, and that's fine. But when you're on vacation, you kind of want to experience the culture a little more, and it's when it's out of your price range, it's really unfortunate.
Yeah, it's almost like one of those expectations versus reality things. Like you expect to be
Mm.
eating at all these fun places and doing these fun things, and you get there and you're like, well, what do I do?
Yeah,
So
that's too bad.
it all comes down to doing your research. I mean, I thought I did my research, but there's some things that you just don't even realize. Like I had no idea that I keep saying South Carolina. South Carolina is not that expensive. Charleston is, I had no
Mm.
idea that Charleston was so pricey and really, I mean, you can do it on a budget, but I think you need to have a higher budget than you'd expect.
Right, like save more for the food and for the all that stuff if you want
Yeah,
to have a good time
exactly.
there. It sounds
Exactly. Yeah, I just really didn't see that coming.
right. Okay, so then the first day you walked around, shopped, and did you do anything else that first day?
I don't believe that we did. We walked around and shopped. I think we ate at Chipotle that night, actually. And I'm pretty sure that's it. It was very chill. I forgot a jacket actually, and it was pretty cold because it was
Oh.
January. And I had my jacket on the couch right before we left, and I guess we just ran out of the house and I forgot my jacket. So I bought a jacket there on the expensive strip. And then
Ugh.
so, I mean, yeah, we just shopped around a little bit. It was a nice day. It was very calm. And there's not a lot of people on the streets there, at least at the time that we went. So it was just very charming and calm, and we were able to walk around and feel safe and comfortable.
Mm.
Yeah, but it was
Um,
just a chill first day.
how many days did you stay for?
Oh, that is a great question. I think we were okay, so we got there that day.
It was Friday through Sunday, I believe.
Yes, I think you're right. We got there the Friday. We spent about half the day there on the Friday, and then we had the whole Saturday, and I think we left. I'll get into what we did on the Sunday, but I think we left midday Sunday.
Okay, so just like a really quick getaway.
Yes. And
So
honestly, I feel like we got everything done I wanted to do. So I don't think it needed to be any longer than that.
that's good.
Yeah,
That's good.
maybe a little bit if you want to do all the paid activities that we didn't really take part in.
Mm.
But I mean, we did do one paid activity, which I'll talk about later. We're not up to that yet.
Okay.
But yeah, I think you don't really it's a very attainable weekend trip if you have
Nice.
a somewhat decent budget.
Yeah. So what did you guys do Saturday?
Okay, so Saturday was our full day there. And my husband, his grandfather, I believe, was in World War II or something. I don't know. I don't know anything about war stuff, but
Okay.
Fort Sumter is there, which I don't know what Fort Sumter is either. I wish I could tell you, but it's some war fort. And also part of, so it's called, I think, Patriots Point. And from Patriots Point, you can get to Fort Sumter or you can go to the these boats. Like it's this aircraft carrier boat and a destroyer, which is a type of boat that they used in World War II. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know anything about this, so just let me know in the comments if I'm saying craziness right now. But we wound up going to the destroyer and the aircraft carrier boat because my husband's grandfather was in the war and he worked on a destroyer. And my husband was saying that he's never seen a destroyer before, and it was like always a dream of his to be on one and to see what his grandfather experienced and went through on one. So we wound up doing that. So, like I said, you go through Patriots Point, which I think is in Mount Pleasant. So that's actually not part of Charleston, or maybe it is, but it's right next to Charleston. So it's not in like the main city area. So we did have to drive. This was not walking distance.
Mm.
So we went over the bridge. It's across water, and it's actually a famous bridge. So we went over the bridge. It was pretty cool to go across, even though to me it just kind of looks like any old bridge, but apparently it's famous. I don't know. So we wound up in Mount Pleasant, and we went to Point Pleasant, which is where they have these things. You can also take the ferry from Point Pleasant to Fort Sumter, which is another famous place. I think that's more famous than the destroyer. But like I said, we wound up doing the destroyer for him. And I mean, I'm not into all the war stuff, but we went on the big ship. They had some World War II airplanes and some movies that you could watch on there, like the little clips and Medal of Honor recipients, information of them and how they got the Medal of Honor. And it was very nice. I just don't understand this kind of stuff, but it is a nice historical thing you can do. And then we went on the destroyer, which is a lot smaller than the big aircraft carrier ship. And we walked around, so the living quarters where the people would eat. And it was very interesting. I don't really have too much to say about it because I don't really know much about it. But we had a nice time there.
Yeah, I mean, I think for somebody who's into World War II history, that would be really cool. I know I myself, I find the history interesting. I don't necessarily find the weaponry interesting or that kind of stuff. So I'm kind of right there with you. But, I get if somebody is, and I feel like Donato would have thought that was like the highlight.
I'm the exact same way. I like the history, but the weaponry, I'm like, I don't know.
I just don't get it.
I don't get it either. So I was trying to get it. Like I was reading all the things he was reading, and he was like, "Wow, this thing did this," and I was like, "What?" So I think it's
like, don't they all do that?
Yeah. So yeah. I don't know. It's a very particular thing. I don't know. I tried.
Yeah. I mean, at least you tried.
Yeah, I did. I mean, it's not for everybody.
So how much time did that take up on Saturday?
Couple hours. They also had some either Korean or Vietnam War stuff there. I think it might have been Vietnam War. They had like a little exhibit on it and you could walk around, and it was almost like an interactive exhibit. Like you could like shoot the fake guns and they'd make noise and walk into like it was kind of weird. I think it was like kind of made for kids, but also not. And then you could walk into they had like these little areas set up where it's like, this is where the people ate. This is where the people went to the bathroom. I don't know, stuff like that. Yeah, it was
like, okay.
It was educational, but I think that part was like almost like a next level playground, if you will. It was interesting.
It's into like for men who are like, that's when they are like their most childlike, when they see all those, like, wow.
Exactly. It was a playground for men. Thank you. That's exactly what it was.
Women wouldn't always necessarily. I'm sure there's women out there, but I don't know. I haven't met them.
Yeah, I know. Not me.
Yeah, but okay.
He really enjoyed it. And if you're into World War II or Korean War, Vietnam War, all that stuff, that's probably the perfect place for you. I can't really speak too much on Fort Sumter. I do think that was Civil War. I could be wrong.
Okay. I think you're probably right.
Yeah, I might be. I don't know. But you need to take the ferry to get to that. And it does cost money. It's not free. But once you get there, I think it's like $35 or something. We looked it up. And once you get there, though, they do say it's about 10 degrees colder there. And I'm not really sure why. I think because it's in the middle of the water. So I was like, I was like, I don't really have a jacket. I bought one last night. I don't even really like it. We're not going there.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
But he was more interested in the destroyer anyway. So we wound up doing what he wanted.
Okay. So what was the next thing on your itinerary for Saturday?
So Saturday, we kind of tried to cram in all the things I wanted to do because we didn't have that much time there. We were there for like I said, like technically 2 days when you add up all the time. So we didn't really have that much time there. So I wanted to like pack in everything. So that was kind of the goal for, what was this, Saturday? Yeah, that was kind of the goal for Saturday. So after that, we were obviously getting hungry. It was a long time we were there. We were there for about 2, 3, 4, maybe 4 hours, maybe. I don't know. It was hours. So we were getting hungry. And we had a little trouble finding food because, Katie, you know this, but not everyone knows this. My husband has celiac, so he has to eat gluten-free.
I'm sure not everybody would know
that. Just everyone knows. Yeah, he So he has to eat gluten-free all the time. And it was a little challenging finding gluten-free food there. Not many places had options. We actually, the day before when we went to Chipotle, we only went to Chipotle partially because everything was expensive, but also because we actually sat down at a restaurant and they were like, no, we don't have any gluten-free. So he was looking online on his gluten-free websites trying to find what places had gluten-free in Charleston, and there really weren't too many. The options were pretty scarce, but we did wind up finding a good place. It was called Fleet Landing. It was on the water, and I really liked it actually. It was a little adventurous for me, the tastes. It's a seafood place, and I wound up getting a BLT, but it was like a fancy BLT. So they were like green tomatoes and they were like fried, and it was like a dramatic BLT, and I was
Sounds
like,
so good.
yeah, it was really good actually. And I asked them, can I have regular tomatoes? And they said no. So I had to eat the green, the fancy tomatoes. But
Fried green tomatoes.
yeah, it was pretty good though. Honestly, I didn't think I would like it, but I really did. So it
Yeah.
was, if you do want to go to that place, I say make reservations because we did have to wait for an hour. But
Wow.
yeah. So, but while we were waiting, we actually did stuff. So that was nice because right down the
Okay.
road was a place I wanted to go to. So we walked to the waterfront park, which I don't know if you've ever seen it. I'll attach a picture to the YouTube video, but they have a big pineapple fountain, and it's kind of like the icon of Charleston, if you will. So
Yeah, I've never seen it.
pineapple fountain, Charleston. And this park is on the water. It's really very pretty.
Oh, I think I've seen it before. Yeah.
I think we may have looked up pictures when we were planning Charleston together.
Mm.
So they have a couple fountains there. The pineapple one is obviously the most famous, and it's really pretty. I mean, you just kind of walk around there. It's a park. I mean, what are you going to do at a park besides walk around?
Yeah,
So,
very pretty.
yeah, very pretty park though, and it's on the water also. I think I might have mentioned that.
Mm.
So, yeah. And then also in that area, just a very short walk away also is Rainbow Row. And don't get it confused with Rainbow Road from Mario Kart. That's what I thought at first, but it's not that. It is basically Rainbow Row, ROW. So it's basically it is a road, but they have all the houses are different colors, and like each one's a different color, and they're the kind of old Southern style houses, but they're all different colors. So I'll pull up a picture of that for you, Katie, and I will attach a picture to the YouTube video. So this is Rainbow Row.
Oh, that's so pretty.
It's very pretty. They do say it's one of the most photogenic places in the United States. And I mean, my pictures did not come out great, but these pictures are very nice. I don't
They
know.
remind me of the Puerto Rican houses.
They do, yeah, with all the different colors. I think the only difference really is kind of the architecture, but it's very similar vibes, yeah.
Yeah.
I was actually surprised that when we were walking down Rainbow Road, there really were not too many people there. So it was just very quiet and very relaxing. I don't know, maybe I went to the wrong place.
That's interesting. I
I
doubt
don't,
it. I feel like you
yeah.
were in the right place if they're all different color houses.
It looked like this. Yeah, I think I was in the right place, but
Yeah.
it was just really quiet. Like there was like maybe two people walking down the street. And I
Oh,
mean,
wow.
maybe it was the time of year. I don't know, but it was very peaceful. And there wasn't really any food or things to do there, at least that I saw. But it was just a nice, maybe down the road there was, we didn't explore the whole road. But in that area, it was just houses. But it was really quaint and quiet and cute and pretty. And if I was not broke, I would live there. I mean, it was cute. If I also I don't really like cities, honestly, so maybe I wouldn't. But it was just, I
Yeah.
liked the vibe of that street. It was just really, really cute.
Nice. That's good that you got to do some things in between eating.
Yeah, it was just, we just walked around. That was a lot of this trip was just walking around.
Mm.
And this picture here, this church, this is a famous picture that you can get in Charleston. I'll attach a picture to the YouTube video as well. And my picture did not come out half as good as this one I'm showing Katie right now. But we drove by this church. We didn't walk past it because it was a little farther away. I believe it's called St. Michael's Church. And I'm going to Google that to double check for you right now. St. Michael's Church, Charleston. Yes. St. Michael's Church. We did not go inside. Like I said, we just drove past it, but it's a really famous picture to get it like the street with all the pretty southern buildings and the palm trees and the spire of the church coming up. So
Yeah.
I just wanted to see it because that's what's in all the pictures. So we did a quick drive by of that. And then do you have any questions before I move on to what we did next? I told you we fit a lot into this day.
No, I mean, I feel like that makes sense. So you just kind of drove around and then you ate the lunch, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, okay, yeah. I mean, I think that's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, I was just trying to hit all the sightseeing points this day. So then after we finished eating and we finished up in that area, we saw the church, we saw Rainbow Row, then we hit the city market. So I'll pull up a picture on here for Katie, and I'll also attach a picture to the YouTube video as usual. City market, Charleston. So it almost looks like courthouse vibes, but we didn't go up the steps. I don't even know if you can go up the steps. I mean, obviously you can go up the steps, but I don't know what that door leads to. So the market is actually on the ground level, and you go through that little like tunnel looking thing, and the market goes back for like miles. So it's not just this building. It goes back for blocks and blocks and blocks and blocks. And
Wow.
yeah, and unfortunately we went while the market was kind of closing up, but I did kind of get a feel for what they had in the market. And so if you're looking for to buy really anything in Charleston, like souvenir wise, I would say absolutely hit the market before anything else.
Yeah, what kind of things did you see there that they were selling?
So a lot of very like artisan type things. People like make things and sell them, like candles and paintings. And there's these, it's a South Carolina thing, or at least a Southern type thing. And the Gullah people, they make these bowls, or I read this somewhere online very, very briefly when I was looking up things to do in Charleston. So I'm not 100% sure on the history of it or even really who these people are. I'm not really sure, but it's a South Carolina Southern type thing, and they make these bowls. So if you know the history of it, please drop it in the comments. I'd be interested, and I might read up on it after this. But yeah, you could buy those bowls there, or I'm sure they make other things as well. I think these are the bowls. Yes, they're like woven things.
Mm.
So they have those there. You could buy magnets and postcards and, all the touristy stuff, keychains, just things tourists like to buy.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds cool. I feel like every city has something similar to this.
Yeah, it was really nice. It was like a very nice flea market almost. Jewelry too, a lot of jewelry.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if
That's
you're
fun.
looking for a nice quick thing to do, we didn't buy anything, but it was nice to just stroll through and check out all the shops. And like I said, a lot of them were closing up by the time we got there, but it was still nice to see. And even outside of the market, there are places within the market that you could kind of exit. It's very open air almost. So you can get out really at any time. And then there's stores lining the streets too. So if you're not really liking what you're seeing in the market, you could just hop into one of those stores. They had this famous cookie shop and a lot of things to do around there. It's a really busy area.
Yeah. It sounds like fun.
Yeah, it was nice.
Yeah.
And then we went back to the hotel after that, and we decided to go out at night that night.
Okay.
So what did we do? I think we didn't do dinner actually. He got Chipotle again, actually, but I did not have anything to eat because the sandwich I had at lunch was very filling. We had a late lunch, so I was good. So we wound up going out, and I'll look up the name of the bar. It was actually pretty cool, but it's definitely not for everyone. Charleston. I think it started with the letter B. Charleston bars. Loading. Thinking. No, none of these are it. Oh, Burns Tavern. I think that might have been it. Where'd that go? Yes, Burns Alley Tavern. So it's definitely not for everyone, and I'll explain why. But
Yeah.
we had a nice time because this was actually the only place we wound up going to that night. I'll try to maybe post a picture. I don't have a picture, I have a video. And sometimes my editing software is weird with videos. I haven't really gotten the hang of it yet, but I'll see what I can do. But it was pretty packed. It was pretty small. We did have to wait to get in, and they played like metal music almost, like
Oh,
like death metal.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's definitely not for everyone.
Wait,
And
what is
even,
that sign? Beware of pickpockets and loose women.
oh yeah, they had like profanity signs like all over the place.
Oh
Like
gosh. Yeah.
it like I'm trying to find a picture of the like just all here's like they had like bumper stickers of like weird stuff everywhere.
Yeah, that's not my vibe.
Yeah, like I said, it's not for everyone, but the drinks were cheap. We got a spot at the bar, so we were able to sit at the bar and just keep them coming.
Yeah.
And and he liked the music. I didn't know a single song. Actually, when we were standing outside, I knew a few songs. Like when we were online waiting to get in, they played some like of the typical bar songs. And so I was like, okay, I know these songs. Like this will be fun. And then when we got in, the like death metal band started, and I was like,
Oh
okay.
no.
Yeah, I don't know. It definitely wasn't my vibe, but also at the same time, I did have fun. I did not have fun. It was just I didn't know any of the songs. So it was
Yeah.
just kind of like, but it was just like a fun atmosphere overall, I'd say.
Yeah.
And finding the bar was actually difficult because it literally is in an alley. Like they call it Burns Alley for a reason. It's in an alley and like it's not labeled very well. Like this is a picture of it actually. Like you just go in here. This little like crack in the wall.
That's so
So
scary.
it's like if you could find it, you can find it. If you can't, you can't.
Yeah.
There are a lot of other nice bars in the area that we were looking into. There's a lot of rooftop bars. I don't know why there's
Oh
so many,
wow.
but there's so many rooftop bars, and we would have loved to go. Honestly, I wanted to go to a rooftop bar so bad, but it was
Yeah.
just too cold.
Oh, that's too bad. Because I was gonna say
Yeah,
that would have been really fun.
I know. So, I mean, maybe when I have a little extra change in my pocket and and it's warmer out, I'll go back and I'll go to the rooftop bars. But yeah, I wish we did that. I think that's something I would have liked to do. But this place was fun. It just wasn't for everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Nice.
so,
So that was
yeah,
kind of the end of Saturday, right?
I think so. I'm just gonna look over my list of things that we did and see if I forgot anything. I don't think I did. I actually do have in my notes here that you can walk across that famous bridge that I told you about earlier. I know
Hmm.
it feels like a while ago, that Patriots Point when we were going there, that bridge we drove across, you can actually walk across it. And that's something tourists like to do. I didn't mention that.
That's
But
cool.
other than that, I think that's everything. I think I hit everything I wanted to hit.
Nice. Nice. So then Sunday, what were you up to that day?
So Sunday, the only thing we didn't get to do in Charleston that I wanted to do was they have this walk by the water. It's called the Battery. And that's the only thing we didn't get to do. And so I was like, we could either do that, or when we drive home, we can just stop in Savannah for a little bit because we have to drive through it anyway. So why not stop and see something new rather than just seeing the same old stuff here? Because we felt like we already saw everything in Charleston.
Right.
So that's what we decided to do. We decided to stop in Savannah for a couple hours. But I mean, let me get back to Charleston first. Before we stopped in Savannah, we had breakfast at the hotel. The hotel has a restaurant, so we had breakfast there and it was amazing. Really, really good breakfast.
Mm.
All I had was bacon, but it was really good bacon.
Oh
And the hotel actually has a Starbucks built in. I didn't mention that to you. And I know
my
that's
gosh.
gonna break your heart that you didn't go now.
I have to go now just for the Starbucks.
Yeah. So yeah, we got some Starbucks, we ate at the restaurant, and I think that was it. We really just headed out after that. I think that was all we did in Charleston that day. So we wound up going to Savannah, and I don't really want to tell you too much about Savannah because I know you're going soon.
I am.
So
I'm going in like 2 months.
yeah, when are you going?
No, I'm
First
sorry.
first
Literally
week
like
of
a
April.
month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're going in like a month. So
I am so
yeah,
excited.
I was only there for a few hours, but I mean, I was going crazy that few hours. I was like, Donato, we're gonna see everything. So we saw a lot for just like 3 or 4 hours. But
Right.
I think him and I both said we would love to go back. So, and I know you're going at a time that I'm not available to go. We already had this conversation, but let me know what you think of it. And hopefully maybe if you
Maybe
like it,
one
we
day
can,
we'll go back again, but
yeah.
I'm really not big into going like places. I mean, besides Florida, like Disney, but maybe this could be the place I go back twice. Who knows?
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. I feel like once I've done it, it's done.
Yeah, it's like even New Orleans, like I think it's just like I'd want to see new things, you know?
Yeah, I'm exactly the same way. I love New Orleans. Would I go back? Yeah, but I feel like there's so much more that I'd rather spend my money on.
Yeah, and I feel like sometimes it ruins the experience to go back because then it's just kind of like, oh, this wasn't the same as the first time, you know?
That's almost how I felt about Hawaii because things were very different
Mm.
pre-COVID. And so when you and I went, it was very different. It was very crowded. Things were closed. Everyone was understaffed. And so it
Yeah,
felt very different. And it almost ruined Hawaii for me in my eyes because I loved Hawaii when I went with my family. And when you and I went, I thought it was like my expectations were so high because I was like, Katie and I always have fun together. Hawaii is going to be amazing. And like it kind of just wasn't because of
yeah,
just the situation. And I think, yeah, I think just going back to places sometimes almost just if you had a good time the first time, maybe don't push it.
yeah. Well, actually, I was thinking about going to Hawaii for, in the future if I was gonna have a honeymoon, but
Mm,
not Honolulu, specifically Maui.
Maui, yeah. I'd like to go to
That's very
Maui.
different. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, Maui I know is a lot less commercial and crowded, similar to Kauai. I've been to Kauai,
Mm,
and Kauai there's like it was like deserted.
okay. Which honestly is, I'd rather have it like deserted than way too many people.
Yeah, I remember I had wanted to go to Maui when we went, but there was too many COVID restrictions there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Hopefully in
mean,
the future.
I hope so too, but at the same time, I would like to make it there in my life, but it's definitely not top of my list. I feel like there's a lot of other places I'd like to see first.
Right.
Yeah,
We
I
should
just
do a
don't.
whole podcast episode on places we want to see and why.
Yeah, we should honestly. That's a good episode idea because I feel like we've been doing a lot of destination episodes lately of places we have been, but I think we need another one of those episodes where we just talk about how we feel.
To talk about our feelings. Yeah,
Therapy.
maybe next episode. That would be so honestly, that would be so much fun. I would love that.
I'd like to do that next episode, but also we still never did our Bahamas episode. And I know what you're probably thinking, audience. We already have done a Bahamas episode, but Katie and I just went back to Bahamas. It was Katie's first time, it was my second time. And we just went, what was that, 3 weeks ago, maybe 3, 4 weeks ago?
Mm.
And we never spoke about that. So it's like, do we talk about that or do we do this new episode idea?
You sound so hypocritical right now because you were literally like, yeah, I'd never like to go back to places twice. And you're
All
like, I
right.
already went to the Bahamas and here I
Katie,
am again.
relax.
It's like, tell us the truth. Be honest.
Stop calling me out.
I just had to
Walking
get
on
to the punch
eggshells.
before the audience does. Yeah.
I know. At least now you give me time to defend myself.
Yeah. A public apology, please.
I apologize for lying. Sometimes I do go to places twice. But you know what? I actually think that sometimes going places twice is a good thing because I think I had more fun in the Bahamas the second time than the first time.
Yeah. And we'll get into that when we do the Bahamas episode.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll definitely get into that when and if we do the Bahamas episode. I
We
mean, well,
will.
obviously,
We have to.
yeah, we have to.
It was so much fun.
It was. Yeah, we really do need to talk about that.
Yeah. But okay, so overall, what do you think you would rate this trip?
Do you mean like out of 10, out of 100,
Yeah.
out of okay.
Well, we could do either one out of 10 or out of 100. Maybe out of 100 would be more specific.
That's really hard because we've never done this before, so I don't have like a baseline. Like what's 0 and what's 100,
I'd say Hawaii would be like a 40.
Hawaii. Okay. It's just a
And I'd
very
say New Orleans would be like a 97.
okay. Um, like a 65, 70, maybe 6.
Okay.
I think the food thing was the real
Mm,
killer of this trip, was just finding affordable food and also food that my husband can eat was just very challenging. And I think the pricing of everything, it was just that would put it in the 60s and 70s rather than the 80s.
yeah, it kind of seems to me that it's not the most accessible city in the world because on the block, it's just shopping. And then to find an actual restaurant was really challenging. Like in a city that big, they should have gluten-free options. That's a thing, like common thing amongst people.
Yeah, it was very, very limited. And I was very surprised by that. especially because this city seemed to be a little bougie and Hollywood has like that gluten-free diet, so you'd think it would be all over the place here, and it just wasn't.
Mm. Yeah, I guess they just don't value that like people have different types of diets, you know. It's just kind of like, okay, this is what we have and you could take it or leave it.
Yeah, I don't, it was very strange. And we
Yeah.
found this one place that had gluten-free stuff, and it looked like it was like completely shut down. So
Wow.
I don't
Because
know if,
everybody there is like, ew, we don't want gluten free.
right? We want the good stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know what gluten-free people who live there do. If you live there and you're gluten-free, let me know in the comments. But
Yeah.
I don't know.
We don't eat out.
It was, I did enjoy it. However, I think there was a lot of things that were strange about Charleston that made it less enjoyable than it could have been.
Yeah.
Because really, when you think of a city in the United States, you pretty much think everything's going to be there. You're going to be able to find cheap food. You're going to be able to find just, you know, I feel like every American city is very similar. Like you kind of know what to expect, but this one just kind of threw me off a little bit in that we got there and it was just not what I expected.
Yeah. Yeah. So what advice would you have for people going who want a vacation in Charleston?
So, my biggest advice is to really budget for this trip because, or like plan out your budget and know, have enough money to spend on things and foresee the prices of things because I think that was our biggest downfall was we were like, oh, it's just another city in the United States. We know what things are going to cost. We only live 5 hours away. How different could it be? And I was really shocked about how upscale a lot of the things are. So
Mm.
we really did do our research. I just don't think we did enough research because we kind of went into it with expectations of how it would be.
Mm-hmm.
So my biggest advice is, I mean, now you know from hearing it here, even if you don't want to do your research, you know it right now. I'm telling you it's expensive. So I don't think it's something you can do as a weekend trip if you have like absolutely no money and you're on such a budget that it's gonna ruin your trip because I think a big part of why our trip wasn't what it could have been was because we couldn't really afford to eat in these upscale restaurants because we didn't budget for that.
Mm. Okay.
So I'd say that's my biggest advice.
But you think other than that, that you tried to hit as much as you could of it and you enjoyed it? Or do you
Oh
kind of
yeah.
wish that you would have done? Because I know I think Charleston also offers like ghost tours and cemetery tours, that kind of thing. Or is that like not your vibe?
It's not my vibe, but it's not really my vibe either. I think
Mm-hmm.
I think I would go on a ghost tour with you. I don't know if I would go on a ghost tour with my husband.
Right.
Very different vibes. I just feel like we make a joke of everything. And with him, I joke around with him too, but it's different vibes. I feel like I would have more fun on a ghost tour with you. So I also think it's the company that you bring to certain things.
Yeah.
I love traveling with my husband. You're just different people. You're good for different things.
Good for
But
different. Yeah,
but
no, that totally makes more sense.
yeah, and I don't know, like I'm not for or against a ghost tour. It just wasn't in the cards for this trip. I honestly didn't even really consider it when we were looking at things. But
Yeah.
I mean, I'd be open to it. I
I'm
don't
only
really.
asking too because I know when I'm planning Savannah, they have a lot of that to offer, and I'm leaning towards doing it just because it's part of the experience.
I
Um,
think
yeah,
personally for Savannah, I think you should because a lot of Savannah has a lot more of a haunted history than I think Charleston does. I mean,
really, okay.
Savannah's like famous for that. Yeah.
Well, I'm so excited.
I think you definitely should do that. I mean, obviously, I didn't do that there because I had very limited time and I did see a lot more than I even thought I would see there. But I don't know. I think you should do it. I think that's one of the big things there.
I feel like this episode's getting me more excited for Savannah because I think they have similar vibes, but I also think that Savannah has the cafes and the parks, and I feel like it's probably on the cheaper side of
Yeah,
Charles.
I can't really speak to the pricing of Savannah because we didn't eat there. We just kind of walked around and saw the sights. But
Okay.
I can say that it is very similar vibes. It's definitely a little bigger. That
Mm.
Charleston felt smaller and like you could walk to everything. And I don't doubt that you could walk to everything in Savannah, but we were trying to get to some things and we were just like, ooh, that's too far. We should drive. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, I think it's definitely a little bigger, a little more spread out, a little more industrial in certain areas. But and it definitely is like a more established city, if you will. Like Charleston is almost like a not a town, but it's closer to a town than what you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know
I
what
don't
you
know what I'm
mean.
trying to say. Yeah.
Yeah,
It
because I mean, compared to New York City that has all these options, all these places, it sounds to me like it's doesn't have as much versatility.
No, yeah, it not really so much. It's more of I don't want to say it's a town. It's like kind of in the middle of between being a big town and a small city.
Yeah,
But
makes sense.
Savannah's definitely a city, and it definitely
Okay.
has a lot more. It's not as small town as Charleston, but I mean, it does give you those southern vibes, especially in the area of, I think the park is called Forsyth Park. I don't know how to pronounce it. For something. And it's really, really beautiful. Like so,
Mm,
so pretty. And that area was like very charming, very southern, very it was quiet when I went, but it was also raining that day. I'm not really sure if maybe that was why raining in January. I mean, I feel like it probably gets busier during the time that you'd be going, but I really
yeah.
loved that area. It was so charming. And then walking by the water, again, it was raining and cold when I went, but it was just really cute.
Yeah. Cute. I'm
Yes.
excited.
So I think you'll have a lot of fun there.
Yes, awesome. So, do you have any last minute words before we do the country trivia question?
No, I don't think so. I think I kind of touched upon everything. Just if you go, you know what to expect now. And I had a lot of fun. I hope you have a lot of fun too. If you go, just be aware of the things that I told you, and I think you'll have a great time.
Perfect. Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense.
Yep. All right.
Are we ready?
No, but yeah.
No. Okay, so the question once again is which country has the national animal that is a unicorn?
Okay. So I'm teetering between four countries.
Okay.
So I'm not making an official guess right now. I'm just kind of stating my mindset. So Norway, Sweden, Finland, and Denmark. That's kind
Okay.
of my the four that I'm thinking about. And
Okay, well,
I'm
choose
gonna
one and lock it in.
I know. I'm gonna say Denmark.
Denmark?
Yeah.
That's your final answer?
Yeah.
Eh.
What?
Eh.
I was so sure.
I honestly, if I was asked this question, I would probably say the same exact countries.
Really?
I'd
It's not
probably
any
even
of
say like
those?
Norway. It is not. It is Scotland.
Really?
I was so shocked. I was like, I thought it would be sheep or something, but nope, it's a unicorn.
Really? Wow.
I have no
What?
idea why.
Scotland?
Probably look that up, but
Yeah.
um,
I'm gonna look
it's
that up.
Scotland. Yeah.
Weird. Wait. I don't know if I believe you. Pretty sure it's Denmark. Why is the unicorn? Okay. Kings favored the mythical beast because they considered it to be the best representation of power.
I
Interesting.
don't see how, but
Yeah, neither do I.
purity and power. So they like being pure. But I don't know how a unicorn is powerful. I feel like
I
since we're
mean,
not into mystical creatures, we don't know the deeper like symbolism, you know?
yeah, I mean, to me, it's just a fake horse.
Yeah.
I mean,
But I think that there's more to them than we think.
I guess. I feel like to me, it doesn't get less powerful than a fake animal, but I don't know.
Like, I don't know that, yeah, it doesn't sound very powerful, but
Not to be a hater on unicorns, but I just, I don't know. I just don't get it.
yeah.
Uh, you've never been to Scotland, right? I know you go to Ireland a lot,
I
but
think I might have stopped in Scotland for a hot minute,
oh,
but
really?
yeah, when I went on an English trip, I think we stopped off in Scotland. I believe I might have even seen those stones, if I'm remembering it correctly.
You mean,
Stonehenge?
I don't think that's Scotland. I think that's Northern England, like not like the north part of England.
So that's where I was.
Stonehenge. I never saw Stonehenge. I've been to England twice, but I've never seen. Oh, wait, is that Scotland? Wait, I'm getting confused.
I saw it like from the car. Like I don't think we got out of the car.
I mean, apparently they say it's like not, like you can't even get that close to it.
Yeah.
Wait, is it Scotland now? I'm questioning everything.
I
I really,
think it's like the border because we were just in England and then we were randomly there.
wait, is Stonehenge in England or Scotland? We're settling this right now. Okay, so it's in England. I was right. Okay. But what was that Scotland stuff? Because was Stonehenge in Scotland? I don't know. I'm so confused.
I feel like everybody always thinks it's in Scotland.
I always thought it was in
Apparently
England.
it's England. Oh.
Yeah. No, I
Well,
never
you're
thought it
good
was
at
in Scotland.
geography. I always thought it was in Scotland.
Really? So in that
I think
case,
a lot of people have that question.
have you been to Scotland then, if that's the case, or no?
So maybe not.
Wait. Stonehenge. I'm so confused. Is Stonehenge
I feel
in
like every
Scotland or
episode
England?
we get confused about something.
I know. Every
Yeah,
episode
I went
makes
to
me
the
doubt
town of
myself more and more.
Amesbury.
Amesbury?
Yeah.
Where's that?
It
Where do
says
you see
about
that?
2 miles west of Amesbury and north of Salisbury. I've been to them.
Wait, South. Hold on. Where do you see that?
Oh
Oh,
no, it's
here.
just underneath there, yeah.
Okay, so if it's 2 miles west of Amesbury, let me put that into a map. Google Maps. We're settling this right now. Amesbury. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's like northern England. Massachusetts, no. England? So that's here. What? Southern England.
Oh,
Please hold.
where's Scotland then?
Stonehenge, Salisbury. Okay, so this is definitely where Stonehenge is. What? It's in southern England? What? No. It's not even that far from London. I could have gone there. It's
That's
like
so
not.
funny. Yeah, no, I don't think it was that far.
Wait, so then where's Scotland? Scotland's like all the way up here. Yeah.
Oh, so never mind. I've never been to Scotland.
Yeah. What the? I
That's
really
so
thought
funny.
I really thought it was like all the way up here. Like
Well, the more you know.
north of Manchester, like all that. Wow.
Yeah.
Who knew? Well, probably like everybody except us.
I don't know. I always thought that Stonehenge was in Scotland. I don't know why.
I feel like it gives Scotland vibes.
It does, right? Because it's so
Yeah.
green.
I'd like to go to Scotland.
I like the description. Iconic standing stone.
Where do you see that? Where are you seeing these things? Oh, iconic prehistoric standing stone circle.
We love a good icon.
Say that 5 times fast. Standing stone circle. You can't say it.
So funny.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really want to go back to England, but I would like to see Stonehenge. I don't know. Like,
Honestly, I don't think it's worth it just to go back to
really.
England for. No.
I hear it's not worth it. People say it's not worth it, but at the same time, I'm like, I've been to England twice. I run a travel blog and I've never seen Stonehenge. Like, embarrassing.
It's fine. No, it's fine.
Yeah. I don't know, but I feel like I'm also really over England. Like, I don't want to go back.
I don't want to go back at
Like,
all.
ever. Yeah. Not to say England's a bad place. Maybe we'll have an episode on it eventually. I do like England for what it is, but I definitely don't want to go back.
Yeah. Again, it's like our thing of like going back multiple times. It's like I get it.
I think there's certain places I would go back to multiple times but most places I wouldn't.
Yeah. I think it depends on your experience.
Yeah, like I'd say obviously Bahamas I went to twice. I did enjoy it. Would I go back again? Yeah, but I think the price would have to be right.
And also when you're on a cruise, you do different things.
That's true. Yeah, we had a completely different experience than I did with my husband. Both really good times, but different experience.
Yeah.
And I have to say I think I enjoyed the excursion I did with you more than the one I did with my husband just because we did the snorkeling and it was a very active excursion and I was tired and I almost drowned, but like I didn't almost drown with you. Like I was getting
ours was more relaxing.
Yeah,
sure.
a lot more relaxing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think you could have a very different experience in the same place. I think the danger of traveling somewhere twice is if you try to do the same exact thing twice and then it just like doesn't work out the second time. I think that's kind of what happened with Hawaii for me.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So that's my answer for you when you were criticizing me before, right there.
Okay. Glad you cleared it up for everyone.
Yep. Took me like 20 minutes, but
yeah, but you got there.
You're welcome.
Okay, so I think that's a wrap.
Yeah, I think that's everything. All
Awesome.
right. So let me give my ending thing. And I had the page open in my notebook. I have it all written down. And then
Wow.
I was turning the pages because I'm like anxiety. And then here it is. All right. Got it back. Okay. So if you want to find us online, you could find us at www.runwaysandbyways.com. You could sign up for my budget travel planner, which is free. And then by doing that, you'll also be enrolled in the newsletter and you'll get notifications every time I post a blog post or a podcast. Or if you just want to find out about the podcast, we also have podcast notifications. If you go to the podcast page on the website and just pop in your name and email, you'll get an email every single time we post a podcast episode. We have travel planning services on the website. So we have Choose My Destination, recommendations, and advice for a very reasonable price. We'll do any of those things for you and we'll help you plan your dream trip. So if you want to find us on social media, you could find us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Pinterest, and Twitter. All of those are at Runways and Byways, except for Twitter. Twitter is at Runways and Byways. So instead of the word end, it's the letter N. I think that's all of our social media and our podcast availability. We are on Spotify, Anchor, YouTube, and Apple. That's right, Katie. We're now on Apple.
Yay.
So that's what I was going to tell you before the podcast, but I didn't want to. I wanted to tell you on the podcast so I could just rub it in your face that I finally did it in front of everybody.
What do you mean? I'm happy for you.
Because you were criticizing me last time. So
what did I say?
I don't remember, but you were being a hater.
You remember the way I made you feel.
Yeah, exactly. It hurt. I forgive, but I don't forget.
I literally don't even ever say anything. I think that's your own projection.
No, you and Michael were being like mega haters about it.
I literally don't think we were.
Maybe he wasn't, but you really were. I think he was just supporting you.
I literally... Oh, because I think you said like, no, it was you. You're like, I'm lazy.
Me? It wasn't me.
Yes. You're like, oh, I want to do it, but I'm lazy. And me and Michael were like, no.
Are you making yourself out to be the
Roll
good guy
back
here?
the tape.
Honestly. No, I really think it was you. No,
you're like, oh, I need to do it, but I'm lazy. That's your exact words.
I think I was reading out like my ending part, and then I said all the places our podcast is, and then you were like, but not Apple, and you made like some snide comment, and then I was like,
because then you mentioned in the beginning, oh, I need to get an Apple, but I'm lazy, so I reconnected your negativity.
But I didn't say that on the podcast. We said that off air. We said that before we were recording. So now you just look like a mean person.
Sorry for airing out all your dirty laundry.
That's right. Case closed. Julia wins again.
All right. Well, I'm glad you got us on there.
Yeah. So we are on Apple now. I also tried to really tear you down, and I tried to get us on Google and iHeartRadio also, but those seem to be taking a little longer because I put in the wrong email address by mistake. And so now they're both like, we need to verify this is you. And it's just like taking forever.
Oh, I hate that.
Yeah. I'm like, it's me. Who else would be trying to
me.
Yeah. Who else would be trying to impersonate like a podcast that's just starting out? Like, come on.
So, and just to get it on the iHeartRadio, like who would care that much about us?
I know. Just like put it on. Obviously, like it exists. So I know, like even my mom doesn't care that much about it. Nobody.
That's so funny.
So if you're listening, iHeartRadio, put us on. Also Google. I don't know why you're taking so long. Like Google Podcasts, or I don't even know what it's called, but I got to check on that. It's taking forever. But yeah, we are on Spotify, Apple, Anchor, and YouTube. So if you want to listen to us, check us out on one of those. I'm working on the others. Also, I think it said if you're on Apple, you're also automatically uploaded onto, I think it's called Overcast. Let me check. Overcast. Yes, Overcast. So we should also be on Overcast. I have not checked for myself yet, but if that's how you get your podcasts and that's how you're listening to us now, then you already know we're on there. So yeah.
It's very interesting. I want to meet somebody who listens on Overcast.
Yeah, I know. There's actually so many podcast platforms. And I was like, do I really need to put us on all these things? Like I was lazy. I was too lazy to put us on Apple. Like, do I really need to put us on Overcast? And like,
I used to always listen to the podcast app.
Yeah. So that's the Apple one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
So we're
now if
on the podcast app.
yes, so if you open the podcast app on your phone, we're on there.
Oh, that's good because I really liked that one back in the day.
Yeah, yeah, we're on there now. So
Nice.
yep, and I tested it out. It seems to work. So we should be all good on that.
Awesome.
Yep.
All
So
right.
no more hate from you.
Wow.
We
It's like
always
I have not spent a second thinking about that.
I've spent no, literally for days in my head, I was like, just wait till I tell her.
And literally my reaction is like, awesome.
Yeah, you were like, nice. I know after I said it, I was expecting such a big reaction, and you were just like, mm-hmm.
So funny.
Yeah, I did not get the satisfaction out of that I was hoping for, but
Well, there'll be other times.
I hope so. Like I need it now. It's gonna make my week, and now I feel like I just got all excited for nothing.
So funny.
But it's fine. Tell Michael. I'm sure he'll have
Oh,
the
I'm sure he
reaction.
remembers so well.
I'm sure he does.
Like, wait, you guys have a podcast?
Right. Hey, look,
I thought we were just chatting.
I thought
I
you
thought
just
you were
wanted
just
me to meet
genuinely
Julia.
curious. Yeah. I thought you just want to know about our Iceland and Israel.
No, we don't care.
Oh my gosh.
It's so funny. Yeah, see if he remembers. I'm curious.
I'm literally sure he does not remember anything.
All right. Well, he might.
Okay. Well, anyway, it's
Anyway,
been fun.
yes. It's been fun, and we will see you on the next episode of the Runways and Byways Travel Podcast. Bye, everybody. Whether your plane is taking off from the runway,
Or you're driving down a byway
we'll be your guides
through it all.